Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off a 20-cent guaranteed $100,000 pool in the Pick 5 at Woodbine on Saturday with race number 7, the Grade 2 Nearctic Stakes. It is a turf sprint at 6 furlongs on the E.P. Taylor turf course. Bet the race, bet that Pick 5 with a DRF Bets account. You won't be sorry, because when you sign up at bets.drf.com, you receive a 300% deposit match. Here's the field for the Grade 2 Nearctic. $250,000 is the purse. Again, we're going 6 furlongs on the turf. The number 3, Yorkton, last time was the time, because the big favorite in that race, Pink Floyd, broke through the gate before the start. You could make the argument that maybe Pink Floyd was getting a little bit off form going into that race, and then Yorkton just went right to the front over a surface he likes, controlled the pace, and kept right on going. I'm not sure he is as effective on turf as he is on synthetic. I think there'll be a little bit more pace this time around. And I think if the ground is really soft, he won't go anyway.
Yeah, all those things are true. And you know, he's the favorite on the morning line based off of that race, which, as you're sort of alluding to, doesn't really have that much bearing on what's going to happen in this race on Saturday. I think he's a nice horse. There really isn't a turf race on his card that makes him all that competitive in here. Now, I realize most of his turf races have come going longer, and he's better going shorter. But I wouldn't be taking this horse at a short price.
Let's talk about the number 7, Holding Gold. He's a legitimately good turf sprinter for trainer Mark Cassier. The last time this horse ran 6 furlongs at Woodbine, I thought he had trouble in the Highlander behind Long On Value, who was really sharp before he got injured. He had to pick his way through a good amount of traffic in the stretch. He was only beaten a length and 3/4. And then in his most recent 2 efforts, I think he was compromised by the ground. I don't think he likes soft or yielding turf. Plus, he caught a good field last time out in the Play the King Stakes. Cassie won this race last year with the 40-to-1 shot Field of Courage. But if the ground comes up soft and they're expecting at least a little bit of rain, I'm not sure that's Holding Gold's game.
It doesn't seem like he really likes that much cut in the ground, so we'll see how the conditions play out. But everything else you said that I agree with. I will say that the Highlander 3 back, and you're right, he was just sort of never like in that position where he was fully clear. I thought it was a little bit unclear how much horse he actually had in that race, but he never really got into the right spot, it didn't seem like. And I also felt the same way about his Jiper off that little layoff back from Dubai, because it was just one of those paces. It wasn't that fast. He was off of it trying to close at the end. It just wasn't happening. I've always liked this horse, Dan. He never wins when I bet him, but there's a real chance, I think. Listen, 7-2 on the morning line, I don't think that's a great price on him, but if he drifts up from there, I'm going to be very tempted to bet this horse.
Perhaps he'll drift up if the 6 Lady Alexandra gets hit a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if she does. She's 5-1 on the morning line. Now, I want to throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector, because they don't have Lady Alexandra out there outright on the lead, and that's good for her. She can sit 4th, and if there's a scratch, she could certainly be closer to the pace. She ran so well against the boys in the Highlander, making the front in the stretch before getting run down by the salty veteran Long On Value. She then missed a little bit of time. They ran her at Presque Isle Downs on the synth. A, I don't think she liked the synth. B, she ran into a hot horse. Yeah, she ran into a horse that she probably couldn't beat even if she was at her best, and it sort of felt like she wasn't at her best into that Masters, that's for sure. I mean, she was a little, I always liked her when Chad had her. She was a revelation first time for Graham Motion at Aqueduct back in April. She absolutely crushed that field. That was a really impressive win. And then I love that she came up here and backed it up in her next start. Those 2 races, they just stand out in this field. If she can run one of those, she's going to win this race. It's just a question of whether she'll do that after missing some time. And visit timeformus.com after scratches, because this pace projector is live and it will reflect changes. So let's say Yorkton scratches. That'll put the 11 Sing and Cry and Dubai out there on the lead. Now, this horse did rate successfully to win last time out, going 7 furlongs. Got a really nice trip, just saving ground, easing out in mid-stretch and just getting up. But he's pretty fast. Is he classy enough to win this race, though? I mean, I didn't think that he was. I'll take nothing away from the recent form he's been in, because they've certainly improved this horse in his most recent starts. It just feels like this is a tough spot for him, even if he makes the front. I just think he's in against horses who are probably better than him. Horse that was sitting 3rd on the pace projector and could be closer after scratches is the red hot number 5, Bushrod, who's won 3 races in a row, yet to crack that 90 Beyer plateau, however, and I think he's going to need to at least run that to win this race. Thought he beat a weak field last time out of Kentucky Downs, but hard to knock a horse that wins. Yeah, I agree with that. They've certainly done well with this horse off the claim. It was a good claim by them. They've gotten him better since they took him. He's taken out a tough field here. Michael Maker's very well represented in this spot. He's got a 3-year-old, the number 1 Hemp Hooray. We've got a formulator fact for Maker, with horses moving from synthetic to turf over the past few years, 22% winners and a nice ROI. Hemp Hooray, all of the turf races are good, save for the Breeders' Cup and the race at Royal Ascot. So I'm really not not going to hold that against him. I think turf is okay. His last 2 starts since coming back from Royal Ascot, he caught the best 3-year-old synthetic sprinter in Canada, and that's Wyattstown. And last time out, he had to go after that horse early and often. I thought he was very game to finish second. The blinkers are coming on. He worked in 59 and change recently, I'm assuming with the blinks. I think this horse can be a little bit closer to the pace. His turf sprints are good, and he's 20-1 on the line. I have to use him somewhere.
Can't argue with any of that stuff, Dan. He's just a 3-year-old who feels like he's improving, and maybe he's finally in the right situation here. I wonder what kind of trip he gets in this race. That's the only thing that bothered me about it, but otherwise, there's not that much to knock about him. He does have to improve to beat this field, though.
Kitten's Cat's the number 2, and Kitten's Cat just never wins.
I know.
Until last time. They found the right spot for him. He got a great pace setup. They went sub 44 to the half, and Kitten's Cat at 13-10 finally got it done after eating tons and tons of money. We had always thought when Joe Sharp had this horse, was running him 7.5 at a mile, that shorter was better.
That's right.
He wasn't your typical Kitten's Cat. He's good at 6, but I kind of think he needs some breaks to go his way and maybe 1 or 2 not to show up.
I agree with all that. I mean, he's just one of those horses that we were both sort of waiting for them to concentrate on sprints with him. They finally done that this year. I don't know. He hasn't really won me over since they decided to do that. I still think he's pretty good, but that's all. I think he's pretty good. I don't like him in this race.
I think some folks might think that the number 4 Hembry is the most interesting of the Maker trio in this field, because this is yet another one of those Maker claims. And when he claims horses and puts them on the turf, it seems like they become graded stakes winners. Not usually overnight. Hembry, though, has won 2 out of his last 3 races, scored last time out against Kentucky Downs. Is another horse that might need a little pace.
Yeah, he could get the right trip in this race, though. I'm with you. Of the Maker horses, maybe he's the most interesting one, just because he'll be a price, and it does feel like Maker maybe found the key to this horse. It's hard for me to fall for him just because I remember him, back in his earlier days. I just didn't like him at all, but Maker's gotten him better. Sweet
Little Man is the number 10. This horse was the beaten favorite last time out by Sing and Cry in Dubai. You could argue Sing and Cry in Dubai had a better trip, but Sweet Little Man also had a nice pace situation to run at. He came with his charge. He finished an okay third. Listen, this horse has hit the board in 34-46, but lots of seconds and thirds, and it seemed like he hit that Beyer plateau at 91.
That's right.
Gonna have to do better.
Gonna have to do better. You could use this horse underneath, though. He runs every time. He ran by Kitten's Cat a couple of times in the last couple of months. This horse is pretty good. It just feels like winning this race might be a little hard for him.
The Karen Road is a graded stakes winner on a synthetic surface. I think he is better on synthetic than he is on turf, and he got a great setup to win most recently when dropped in for the $60,000 tag. He's going to try turf again. He was 4th in this race last year, but remember, that was just a boggy turf course.
Yeah, the kind of turf course you don't want to put a lot of stock in that race. His synthetic races are so much better than his turf races. It's just hard to like him in here.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 2 Nearctic Stakes. You're going to go with one of your favorites, and that's the number 8, Conquest Pantera. You've always thought shorter, better for Conquest Pantera. They turned him back last time out in the Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint. I'm not going to hold anything that happens at Kentucky Downs against a horse. Conquest Pantera was trying to punch along a little bit at the end of that race. And another one of the also-rans came back to run second. Blind Ambition ran second in Disco Partners last week, so he could bounce back off a Kentucky Downs race. Again, he's going to need some pace. I think he could get it here.
I think so.
And I like him at the 6. He likes Woodbine.
Yeah, all those things. I mean, listen, he is what he is. He's not that great. He needs everything sort of to go his way if he's going to win a race like this, but at least they're running him in the right kind of races. He wants to sprint. It's very obvious just by pulling apart his PPs. When they go shorter with him, those are his best races. He fits really well in this field. I thought he'd be a halfway decent price. He might catch some pace to run into. I don't love anybody else in here, Dan. Save the filly, Lady Alexandra, I think has been really good, but I didn't really want to take her on top. I'll try him.
I don't want Yorkton if he runs in this race if he's the favorite, because I'm not sure he's that good. As he looked in his last race, he's a little dressed up. I don't want Holden Gold at a short price for all the reasons you mentioned earlier. He just doesn't seem to win when the chips are down. I think Lady Alexandra is going to take a lot of money in this race. I want Hempere. I don't think he'll be 20-1, but I do think that he's going to break running under Rafael Hernandez, and he's going to sit the pocket going into the turn, and we'll see if he could return to his good stakes winning form on turf as a 2-year-old. He's a big price. I'm going 1, 3, 11, and 2. He's going 8, 6, and 7. That means the 5 will win the Grade 2 Nearctic Stakes. Race number 7 kicking off a 20-cent, $100,000 guaranteed pick 5. Bet it with a DRF Bets account and the 300% deposit match that goes along with it. Use bets.drf.com for all the information. Approximate post time for the Nearctic, 4:30 Eastern on Saturday. Good luck.